It's 7 o'clock. We call this meeting to order and stand for the pledge, if you please.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Okay. So, amendments to the agenda. Just, we do have an executive session already. Okay. Approval of the minutes for January 23rd.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes for January 23rd as written.
There a second? You want to ask that question?
Yeah, the only question I had was on page 4 under road inventory, it said that Mr. Coupal dissented. He was on the phone. I didn't think you dissented.
Let me take a look.
So I just wanted to make sure the record was correct. I thought it was unanimous because
No, I most certainly did not that edition. No.
because it was pretty straight. That's why I looked at it. I said 26 miles of road and 10 miles. It came up to 36. It is what it is.
Yeah, it's just a-
So I said I think that was a.
This was just a
You were on the phone, so it might have been just. But
Well, he might have said no to somebody else on the phone.
maybe that might
right. So I think we just delete that one and we're
Say it was,
motion
motion unanimous.
was unanimous or something like that. Yep.
move to accept the minutes with the amendment indicated by Mr. Traverse.
Second.
Now, wait a minute, what are we accepting?
The amending the minutes.
The amendment.
For the road
it's a motion
inventory.
to amend, okay.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed? So the original motion was, well, I guess that did it, didn't it?
That,
Yeah,
that
okay.
was the original motion.
Okay, 5 minutes for public comment. Roseanne, I'll be darned.
I have had a couple discussions with Joe, and I just thought I should clear the air regarding my petition. As you remember, back on April 18th last year, it was the informational meeting. I expressed several concerns about the plan that was presented at that meeting. And I was told you guys would look into those concerns. Never heard back from anybody. I did corner Bob. I'll admit, I cornered you at the physical therapy, poor thing. But for the most part, I didn't hear anything. And everything I saw was that you were just going ahead and pushing through the project. And I just got to thinking that maybe if it wasn't just one person indicating that there were concerns, that you might listen. And so that's where the thought of the petition came up, and I contacted Secretary of State and asked how to, because I've never done a petition before, and got back a bunch of legalese gobbledygook that I couldn't make heads or tails out of. So I asked a few people that I knew who had experience in making petitions, and more than three, or at least 3, I should say, advised me to try to have it put on the ballot. And so that's what I did. And that's where my petition came from. It's not that I'm against the entire project. I've never been against the entire project. But the concerns that I brought up at that meeting, particularly regarding the parking and deliveries, the problems that all that would cause, it just doesn't seem to have been addressed. I know you guys had promised that it would get put on the website. I have not been able to find it on the website. And I'm as technologically challenged as they come. And I think there's a lot of people in town that are in the same boat. So I can't find it, it's not easily found on the website. If you guys can maybe do something about that, putting plans readily available onto the website.
I think you're worrying about a bit of change, but I think it'll come out all right. And
I have no problem with change. I just have a problem with things that will wind up being detrimental in the long run.
not, well, we don't know. I don't know. It's your opinion. You're
Right, well, but as you can see from the petition, it's really not just my opinion anymore.
Well, it is if the people are being scared into signing, if they're scared about something that isn't that problematic. You know,
I've been showing them the plans that you guys had and just explaining where things, you know, where Wooden Soldier is, where Cloud 9 is, and
well,
and I always explain that I am not against the entire project, always.
Thank you.
Well, if I may, one
Okay.
thing I will say about this, obviously, I don't think that we have a discussion of the merits of the article or the lack thereof, because we've discussed this out pretty fully, and we have put it on the ballot as an advisory matter. But I will say this. I will say that I'm very curious to see what the ultimate vote on this is. And if it turns out that this passes by a majority of the voters, I think we should take it very seriously. I don't think that we can just simply ignore the will of the voters. And although I know that the use of that concept has been chastised before, we work for them. And again, I recognize that you have some opinions about how people came to sign this and all of that, and certainly you're entitled to that. But again, I think that at the end of the day, the proof is in whatever the final vote is.
Can I say something?
yeah.
I too have very, very serious concerns about the parking. I kind of think we do need to do the project because the sidewalks are horrible to walk on. And I think a little beautification was fitting. But I tell you, I worry about this parking, I really do.
I think you're worried too much. Go out there, my opinion. If you go out, and we don't have, it doesn't have to be a huge thing, but one of the most important things is shortening up that crosswalk. Which is,
I'm good with that.
which is, well, the only way to do that is to make that island out a little bit. Doesn't have to be as far as it says. I think there's room for modification, but I don't know that we need to lose the whole project over it.
Just think about this for a couple of minutes now. I'm concerned, get these extend-along trucks, a double cab, 8-foot body with a tow hitch on the back, sticking out 5 feet into traffic. You get 3 or 4 of them, and then another little car is trying to back out and not with coming traffic. It's gonna be a real challenge for a lot of people.
Well, I mean, and also, Rich, to echo what you said, my concern here is I agree wholeheartedly with Rich that there's some things we need to do, including sidewalk beautification. Never get any dissent from me on that. My concern is, however, that I believe this and perhaps other projects, while there are certainly valuable pieces that we need to address in them, that the overall project is unnecessary. I mean, again, if we need to beautify the sidewalks, we can do that without creating this downtown arrangement or whatever it is. But again, my opinion is one opinion, and I'll wait for the voters.
Well, the town would have to make sure that their paperwork is actually correct and funding sources and all of that. As we've seen with Mr. Gunter, some of the funding and some of the paperwork may not have been done according to the way it should be done.
I think you're wrong.
Mr. Chairman, can I make
Yeah.
one? This is 5 minutes for public comment. This is not for discussion. I think we're going down a rabbit hole we shouldn't be going down.
Okay, you're right, and, I don't know that any of the, I will defend Mr. Gunter and say there, none of the funding or the sources are poorly done, but we're gonna move on. Yes, I
just
guess we're
wanna-
not gonna move on.
No, I'm sorry, but I just want to make one point. I did try to contact Joe. I left a voicemail for him yesterday. I didn't realize that the deadline for the agenda was for Thursday, or was the previous Thursday. But I did leave him a voicemail asking if he maybe wanted to put it on as an item on the agenda, because I had a feeling this might happen. So I apologize.
Yeah, I think it would be more important to do after the vote, to talk about it.
I just wanted to clear the air because I didn't
No,
want you guys to
the only point that I was trying to make is, when it is on the agenda, there may be more people other than you, there are other people who want to have a say, so that's why I'm saying 5 minutes of public comment, it's not appropriate to get into a full-blown discussion. There's other people who might want to come.
Your mom had her hand up first.
No, I'd just like to say that, with respect to that it's gonna be on the ballot, I didn't actually see the petition, and I don't know how many signatures are on it. But where it's an advisory opinion, there are ways, as this woman was saying, with respect to making it a binding, the wording has to be in a certain fashion. And one of those ways that it can be binding is if it affects the finances or the spending of the town, because it is in fact the taxpayers' money. So I believe, and I'm not 100% sure of the exact wording, but if it's worded in that way, affecting the taxpayers' money, it would become binding. And even though this election is coming up now, if there's a certain percentage of the voters who sign this petition, then the select board is bound by law to hold a special election.
Our lawyers said it was an advisory.
Right, I'm saying this one is,
Yeah.
but I'm saying if they get another petition worded appropriately so that it be binding
Well,
and present that, then a special election does have to be held.
Well, let's cross that bridge if it, I think we can work this out to make it, to modify to make everybody comfortable. I don't think it's that big of a deal. I think we can, there's parts of it that are controversial, most of it isn't. And we'll cross that bridge as we get to it.
No, I
And
agree.
we'll have an advisory vote coming in March.
I agree, and like Mr. Coupal said, that should definitely be taken into consideration. And if not, then I guess the voters can go forward with a binding, requiring mandate by statute that a special election be held. The sentiment will come out in the vote.
Just what I've said for the last year about the Main Street project. If you've lived here any length of time and you're familiar with Brandon and have been through Brandon prior to the same company redoing Brandon, Brandon has done 100% turnaround as far as their commerce,
that's for sure.
everything. So yes, people are gonna disagree. Hopefully the board and whoever can work together to something, because I really think the revitalization of Fairhaven will do what it did for Brandon. Brandon is beautiful if you drive up there. I don't have a stake in it, but I just see what happened with Brandon and the turnaround. The crime went down, everything got better. So that's just my 2 cents.
Yeah.
Different topic. Is Mr. Gunter going to face any suspension, disciplinary actions, or termination for the OSHA violations concerning the asbestos?
No. And if you ask me, you're making, no, never mind. No.
He has the right to say.
Okay, thank you.
Anybody else? Department head reports.
Steve,
So I put the 2 week report in your boxes if you guys have it. We had 2 arrests for one person. Ended up being the same person, but there was a warrant for him, and then the sheriff's department showed up later. We went to jail with the second warrant, so it was 2 arrests. We wrote 35 traffic tickets in the last 2 weeks, 19 written warnings, 1 parking violation, and we responded to 3 car crashes. We did 12 sets of civilian fingerprints for the 2-week period. I gave you a brief review. Under notes, I regret to inform you, if you don't know already, Detective Hewitt has decided to retire from the police department. He's not going to be returning effective the 31st of January. Sean was a loyal employee, like loyal. He came to work every day, he did his job, and his knowledge and skill base is going to be really tough to fill. I have reassigned him to part-time.
Sean's retired.
Effective February 1st, he's our firearms instructor. He's going to stay on at least for the year to get everybody up and running, and then make a decision from there. But I don't think you'll see him on the road again. He's just going to do that firearms piece and then probably fade off as we can get somebody up and running to do that in the following year. So that's going to be a huge hole. We hired Kean Quinn as a part-time officer. He came from the Addison County Sheriff's. He lives in Orwell, good kid. In his 30s, he lives in Orwell with his wife and children. And we're just trying to get him up and running now for part-time. On Sunday, Officer Berzee was attempting to stop a car. He advised the car was frosted over, was all over the road. He came up behind it, turned on to exit. It turned on to exit 3. He tried to effect a motor vehicle stop. As he came up behind him, the woman didn't see him. He's got the lights on. He reached down, hit the air horn. When he went down, hit the siren, she jammed on the brakes in the middle of the road, and he ran into the back of her. So we have a damage car at the moment. State police did find him at fault. They did investigate it, and I told them we were probably going to be at fault, and I took it as a learning. Accidents happen. We're going to go from there. So I'll probably put a little note in his file for that. The car got towed. It didn't need to be towed. It's not leaking fluid. It's got some front end damage, but that's going to, Howard's going to give us an estimate on that. And the same officer started his 6th year with the department. So for the last 2 weeks, we had 101 calls for service. We are 285 for the year. And the revenue is not ready for January. I'll try to get out as soon as I get a total for you. It might be next report. If you guys have anything.
Questions?
No, good.
Okay, good.
Actually, well, one comment, maybe we might want to consider at some point some sort of commendation to Sean for his service to the town.
Good idea.
Okay, we'll start with DPW. The crew, if you've seen them out, they've been ditching. They've really been focusing on ditching and patching up the potholes. They busted out the hot box today. It needed a little bit of work, but they got that thing out, and you'll see them. Should have saw them today, and then you'll see them tomorrow as well. They did a little bit of interior work to their equipment, organizing their water line inventory tools. After the big water main break, they realized that we should have everything in one place. So they're straightening that up.
Like this.
Yeah. And we meet with, Nate met with Wilkes, the paving company, yesterday. He's meeting with them again today to go over in this fiscal year and next fiscal year's paving plan. So that's chugging
Well,
down.
have we got a bid for next year yet?
It's a 3-year.
Oh, right,
Three-year contract
okay,
with-
sorry.
We did get, Mr. Standard did get us some prices for injecting the ash trees with the, I guess it's a pesticide. He said $50 to $200 to get that done, and we have to have somebody certified to do that. So he mentioned that one tree down at the ballparks. If you guys have other trees you want to see injected on town property, let me know. Oh, Blink on Tuesday, so Blink, the EV charging station company, the one that's going to come and install the charging stations down at the park and ride. They're here next Tuesday, along with GMP, to work out the plan to install those charging stations after Belden installs the parking lot. Just as a reminder, this is one of those things where GMP was charging us to keep the charging stations here. Now Blink is paying us, so we're making a little bit of revenue. It's not a ton, but at least we're not paying anymore.
Is it BLINK?
Yes. I reached out to the state about Munger Road. This is one of those things that's just been sitting on the to-do list for, I think, literally 2 years now. So I I reached out to them to see if they would just accept a motion from the Board of Selectmen to make Munger Road a Class 4 road again, because somewhere along the lines, they messed up their paperwork. Not even, it was 2016, I think they messed up their paperwork. So that's still, that's moving forward finally. And the rec committee, they called, they said they wanted to take down those pine trees like we talked about over budget season. I thought the quote I had was pretty expensive. They found somebody to do it for $5K. So, yeah, it's a good price. So we're gonna give them $1,500 towards it. They're gonna front the rest from their kitty, and they're gonna get those taken down, stumps ground, and they're gonna get some boards made out of the pine to fix those dugouts. So they're doing a good job. They've really become active. Oh, and the park fence. Carl's doing a great job still. He's gonna catch up to me, I think, at this point. I installed 6 yesterday. I got 12 sitting at my house I need to finish up, but yeah, that's coming along. That'll be done in a couple weeks. Yeah.
Is there anybody else working on it?
No, just me and Carl. I think the Historical Society wanted over the summer, they're looking for volunteers to help now polish up the marble pillars, because those look like they could use some help.
Isn't that kind of the trade of marble all? It gets cruddy after a while. Sick of stone, right?
Yep.
It's a lot of work. I mean, the new rails, painted rails, really do make the post stand out a little crappy.
That they need cleaning, yeah.
You may wanna talk to, I don't know if it's Itty Bitty or something about, in the Legion, they wrap those rails on, for Memorial Day, you may not wanna do.
They said they weren't going to anymore.
Yeah, oh, good.
They're afraid it's gonna leave the color on the
Yeah,
brand
that's
new
what,
white rail.
that's what I was worried about, yeah. And just see what they thought about that. That's good.
And if anybody is interested, so I do this at my house. I clean and wash my porch. I clean the porch and touch it up every year. I think this is just something I want to do annually. So if anybody's interested in walking around and scrubbing and painting, let me know. We'll do it not this summer, next summer. And that's all I got for you.
Questions, comments?
Joe, I do have one question. I realize that we're in the middle of winter, so this may be kind of, this project may be in abeyance, but did we ever do anything with that right-of-way issue for the solar farm?
Oh, that's a very good question.
No, we haven't. We're waiting on them to get back to us.
Okay.
You're talking about the big one.
The Sheldon project.
Yeah, no, nothing's come up yet.
Okay.
You might wanna rattle their cage.
The Sheldon,
The Sheldon,
property that they were doing the solar,
they wanna go through, they wanna go on Munger Road, actually.
they wanna use Munger Road.
Right, so that may mess up the works and what,
Or might all
or
come
we may
together.
have to split out some of it as a class 4 and some of it as something different. And I
One thing
think
too, also, Joe, if you do get a chance to speak with them, if you could find out what are they exactly proposing in terms of what kind of lines are they proposing running under the road? I'm curious as to how extensive the project is going to end up being.
Yeah, I'll gather that information up. See if they're even ready for it, but-
I mean, I don't think they're going to do
They
it
haven't-
during the winter anyway, so, you know.
They haven't come to the planning commission yet.
You know.
Yeah, their first step should be going to the Rutland Regional Planning Commission, and then they should come
The
here.
Rutland region,
And when that happens,
They're-
then the,
it's, there's a lot of pieces of parts. Yes,
Does the town benefit at all from these solar farms?
do we, from the,
I mean, do we,
there's
We-
property tax.
we make money on the one at the transfer station, but if you're saying, do we benefit from the ones, the privately owned
well,
ones?
I don't know, I didn't know if the ones up by Sheldon, is that completely on their property?
Yeah,
Yes, it is.
Okay,
So-
because isn't the water plant up there somewhere?
no, not where this is.
Not
Not where that is?
This is north of the airport itself, the airport proper. So
Oh, okay, all
So-
right, I didn't realize that, I thought it was,
Yeah.
okay.
it's, that big bowl that you can see from
Yes.
Scotch Hill. It's down in there.
And just to
that's why-
explain, Roseanne, what the issue is the developers of the solar farm on that land, they're asking the town for a right-of-way so they can install lines under or, on the sides of Munger Road. And one of the things I asked Joe about is whether, because normally in a situation like that, there's a licensing fee or a maintenance fee that is paid by the holder, that is paid to the holder of the right-of-way. So that's what we're exploring right now to find out exactly how we can monetize that arrangement. But, because it's winter, I highly doubt that anything is going to be looked at until the spring.
Is Munger Road the one that you were talking about that is in such bad shape?
No, it's Scotch Hill.
That's Scotch Hill Road. Okay, I'm sorry.
And the another issue, obviously, is that if they're going to tunnel in that area, they may cause damage to the asphalt. And so we need to also ascertain who's going to pay for that, and it should be them.
Yeah.
Other questions? Okay. There is no old business, except for what we've talked about so far. Appointment of Mr. Coupal to the bus board, is that the right?
Yes, that is.
Okay.
Just for an explanation, the Marble Valley Regional Transit District, which controls the routes for the bus in this region, they have been asking for members from particular towns to serve on their board. I know that Joe, I believe you served on them for a year, and they seem to be interested in having someone from Fairhaven. I volunteered to do it. It's once a month, I believe, are the meetings. Joe gave me a wonderful description of the type of things that go on during the meetings. I think he referred to it as they're kind of dry, but in any event, I think that I'm happy to do that for the town. What the district requires is they require a resolution signed by the board appointing me to that position. I did go ahead and prepare one on our letterhead, so if you guys want to sign that. I know that Chad isn't here, and I guess technically I shouldn't be signing this, but since there is a quorum today, we can do that, so.
You can vote for yourself.
Sure, well, yeah,
If you don't think you're qualified, why should we think you're qualified?
So you're looking for a motion?
yes.
I'll make a motion to appoint Select Board Member Jason Coupal to the Marble Valley Regional Transit District Board.
I'll second that.
Everybody understand what we're doing? All those in favor?
Aye?
We are going to sign the resolution. Thank you for doing that. Okay, the next is the March 5th meeting. I think we talked about that last week. And, so now we gotta make it official. I think the last couple of years, we haven't had a meeting on the day of elections because it may be a different board meeting.
Right.
And it's pretty lame ducky, as you would say. So,
Joe, do you want to give this to you, or should I keep it? They just want me to send it over.
I can scan it and send it to.
Please. Thank you so
Yeah.
much. I mean, I saw Joe's notes, and if the Secretary of State recommends that we don't do it on that day, I would think that we shouldn't. I was going to simply ask, though, what date would we make the meeting up on? I know that the 6th is a commission meeting,
Yeah.
planning commission meeting. So I think.
why don't we just go to the 12th?
Yeah,
The next-
just skip, don't even,
Just go back to the 12th and
Okay.
are you gonna need a warrant signed for payroll?
No, I mean, we're legally bound to pay, so you can just sign the payroll.
Well, I mean, could
we
we
can sign those on the 12th.
Yeah, another day, yeah, it's fine.
Okay.
Well,
So we're
19th,
going to just simply move it up a week.
up a week and
Okay.
we'll start the rotation from there?
so you mean the 12th is the 19th?
Or, I'm looking.
19th is the meeting.
No, I'm looking back to February. The
March is the middle calendar.
March
Yeah.
is the middle one, which
So
is the
5th is
The 5th is the meeting, so the 19th is the next meeting. I couldn't see the yellow, yeah.
Oh, okay, so just to keep the warrant straight, we gotta go to the 19th, is it?
Yeah, unless you want to, I mean, it's up to the board, obviously.
What's your pleasure,
I'm happy to
folks?
skip the meeting.
I will make a motion that we skip the meeting on the 5th because that's the day everyone will be voting. That'll let Rich and I volunteer to do the BCA work of counting the school votes.
And move it, just go to the 19th.
Mhm.
Okay. Second,
I'll second that.
thank you. All those in favor?
All right?
You got a night off, guys.
Awesome.
Sorta. Cemetery deeds?
Can I just ask, are you going to have the pre-select board meeting on Monday night?
We'll have that, yes.
Yes.
I mean, pre-town.
The town
Yeah, oh, yeah,
meeting
yeah,
down at the grade
Yeah, we'll
school
have
on
that.
Monday night,
Oh,
and
yeah,
then we
that,
vote on Tuesday.
that's Sean.
Well, the Secretary of State was talking about a select board meeting,
Yeah, that's different.
not a public.
No,
Right.
Right.
I read that too, and I
which,
was confused.
without too much trouble, we could actually sign that warrant on Monday if it was ready.
Oh, yeah, of course, I'll have her do that.
Yeah, just,
Because
just tell us when it's
we'll all
ready.
be, if you bring it with it, we're all
bring it
gonna
to
be
We're all gonna be down there. We can-
down there for the
we can
meeting.
Meet formally for 5 minutes, sign the warrant, and
That's
before,
fine.
you know, like quarter to 7 or something.
Very good.
We'll do that. And we'll keep everybody on schedule. You have cemetery deeds?
Yes, I have 4 cemetery deeds.
Okay. I'll make a motion to approve the sale of cemetery lot 76, section 11 in Cedar Grove Cemetery to Daniel and Holly Boyce.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All right.
Make a motion, go ahead.
Just, Glenn, do we have the amounts, by the way, for the cost of the deed, or is that? I'm just.
So, yes, it's in there.
Would you like the, where's our amount? Okay, 900, no.
At the top.
Is this the $945?
Yes.
Okay. I can give the, let me do that motion again, I'll take each of these individually if you like the amounts. Motion to approve the sale of lot 76, section 11 in Cedar Grove Cemetery to Daniel and Holly Boyce for the amount of $945.
Second. You good with that?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye?
That's one.
Make sure I have the right person. No, they're not in the order
It's funny.
that I,
These guys are.
Okay, yes, they are.
contemporaries of mine. I haven't seen them
Made me
for
worry.
40 years. I've seen them twice in restaurants and now this.
Oh,
It's like, there's something coming up here.
okay. Do we need to, everyone else needs to sign?
Over on that side, yeah.
Yeah,
Just
3
kind of
on the
squeeze
side.
it in. It
Yeah.
really doesn't, it was made for the deeds were made for.
for a
three-member
three-person board.
board. Yeah.
I'll make a motion to approve the sale of cemetery lot 167, South Section 11 in Cedar Grove Cemetery to Stephanie Patorti for $545.
Second.
All those in favor?
Is that Jason?
Yep. Jason.
That's complete. I'll give you a line to yourself.
Make a motion to approve the cemetery, the sale of the cemetery lot 66, section 18 in Cedar Grove Cemetery to Stephen Kelly and Matthew Wood for $2,045.
Second.
I'll
Is that,
second
is that a larger plot, or is that a double plot, or
It's probably 4
four?
on that.
Got it.
Well, it
They're
should
all-
say there
they're all a little
someplace.
different.
Is there a second? And-
Second.
Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Sure. Sixth grade, this one is.
Oh, wow.
Hence, the more,
Motion to approve the sale of cemetery lot 190, section 11 in Cedar Grove Cemetery to Mary Jane Spalding for $945.
Second.
all those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Thank you. Two, Reg. Okay. Next, social services policy.
Thank you. This is the policy that tells us how to handle the appropriations that we get. We just finished the budget season and we just finished dealing with appropriations, and it sounded like the board was interested in maybe revisiting this policy.
Yeah, that or it was a matter that, I think I was, let's see, no? I was probably the only one on the board when this policy that's sitting here today was done. It was back, it would have been back in 2021 with Carol, Egan, Chris Cole. I mean, it was, of the five, Jeff Sheldon, of the five that when we redid the thing, we may not have. I think it's the one we talked about, Bob, where you said, that's not the policy, and I said, well, no, the policy was rewritten.
Oh, this, oh,
This
this
is
is
policy
the-
that currently exists, Glenn.
As of 2021,
November 21, yeah.
it was November of 2021. We were just in that COVID, coming up to COVID. Yeah.
can we, read this over and get this until today? Does anybody mind tabling this?
I'd just soon read it over myself, I'm not a speed reader.
That's fine,
I
absolutely.
see that we talk about petitions.
Oh, it's,
Yeah, okay.
it's still, I think some of the concerns you had, I think they're addressed, but I want you to
Okay.
be comfortable before you.
Yeah,
You
that's
go.
what, let me,
They're really, when you looked at that, just so you know, the only thing I saw that jumped out at me was on page 1 where it says this policy does not apply to town membership organizations. And it talks about Vermont League of City and Towns, Cedar, Chamber, the Chamber of SWAC, Solid Waste, but it includes the Fairhaven Free Library. All the rest of those that it talks about are budget items that we do. I think the reason Fairhaven Free Library was put there, and I'm going back from memory, so it's just in case on the far outside end that a library budget didn't get voted in. It allows you to, I think it was our attempt to keep the library budget that was passed from the prior year that didn't go up, to keep it in, because otherwise, if a budget's voted down, you don't have any money on an appropriation item there.
Yeah.
So I don't want to speak, but that's the one you may want to, when you look at it, all the other items that are mentioned here are part of our budget that we talk about. And the library budget is one that they vote on every year through an appropriation.
and I think if there isn't a support, there's even fear of the Carnegie showing up and
Right.
being.
I mean,
I
think-
mean, that there is some sort of,
There's a reverter clause in there.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and I guess, and the only reason I bring that up is because I think it was our attempt to get there to say, if a budget's voted down, not having the Carnegie Library is not an option. So by building into the policy, the fact that, okay, it's here, and whatever the last amount the voters approved, if an increase isn't approved, that last amount's still there. You're still able to fund it and you're still able to run. That was the intent, just so when you read it, you won't see them. Okay.
Sounds good. So we'll revisit that next time around. That was tabled. Property tax stabilization efforts, whatever that.
We talked about revenue last time,
Revenue.
and I think the board kind of decided that we're not really gonna, or I'm sorry, tax reduction. And I think it was decided that we're really probably not gonna be able to reduce taxes with this effort, but maybe we can just stabilize them with increasing revenue. So I changed the name, based on that. I wanted to give just a quick recap of what we landed on 2 weeks ago, and then maybe talk about what we can do. So it was asked that we talk about this every meeting. It seemed to be a consensus that we were gonna try to stabilize tax increases and not necessarily reduce taxes. Though I'm sure nobody would complain if we managed to reduce taxes. There was a discussion around the local option tax again, maybe looking into that one more time, having somebody do the research. And I think it was agreed upon that all sources of revenue should be considered and developed, not just kind of pigeonholing one or another, but really try to focus on many possibilities. What I was hoping for today was to get some kind of items that we could take action on. You know how it is. As things kind of settle down, we kind of forget what we did, and then we don't do what we were supposed to do. So I was hoping to take some action tonight and get some guidance from the board.
Well, as for the option tax, and pardon my ignorance, I did not realize, I know that it had been voted down once, and I know, but apparently it was twice. So obviously that's something we have to consider. I also am not sure whether or not we can charge whether the tax applies across the board to any category that it would, we can pick and choose?
No, we can't pick and choose, the state does.
The state can, okay. So, I mean, it seems that there hasn't been much of an appetite for that, and perhaps, I don't know if now there might be. I think that what we need to really figure out is, if we're going to explore this, is there a way of calculating what the potential revenue might be? Because again, I don't want to waste the voters' time if it's something where, we're not gonna be able to show them something different than we did last time.
I think the big fear is, people talk, and there was fear that fuel was gonna be taxed, food was gonna be taxed, clothing,
Right.
and none of those can be taxed.
They can't, yeah,
So that was one of the fears. Their rooms and meals would go up from 10 to 11%.
right.
That obviously there are some people that are not happy about that idea.
I just want to put in people that I've talked to, and quite frankly, myself as well, but I've picked this up from other people without telling them what my views were on it. One of the biggest things that people who are against that tax is because so much of it goes to the state. 70%, if I'm correct? No?
I don't recall what the percent was.
I think it's flip-flop the other way. They do take their share, there's no doubt about it.
They take quite a bit, and I
It's
mean,
not
people,
quite a bit,
if all the money was coming to.
That's not correct, it's not quite a bit. As a percentage of it, it's not, it's maybe 30% and we keep 70 or something like that. So it's just flip-flop from what you were saying.
It's just, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, as I see it, it seems that like it's mostly gonna be like a sin tax. It's gonna
Yeah,
be, on
pretty much.
Restaurant
Pretty
food, cannabis, liquor.
Yeah.
And I don't know what else.
Probably soda and stuff like that, but stuff in, and I don't even know about that because
Yeah.
that's maybe considered
I
food
think-
by some people.
I think we need to just explore the
Yeah.
particulars of that a little bit more.
One of the things that made it really appealing, because they were giving us numbers at like $250,000 a year, and I was
Yeah.
going like, how does that come
I
by?
don't
Well,
believe that.
Well, what the state does, if you have a 1% tax, is they estimate the tax that Amazon pays to the state and all the other order by online stuff.
Right.
They estimate that and give that to the town.
Right, and is there an option for a tax on telecommunications, cell phone bills? I know that
don't know.
some areas that those option taxes would apply to that as well.
I don't know.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I think
so
we need to,
we just need to know,
Yeah.
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 'Cause I mean, I think didn't we talk about that Rutland apparently made like $300,000
On-
last year? Or, yeah, I mean, I can't imagine we'd make anywhere near that much.
No, but, just
Just
drive
about-
by my porch and look at the boxes
Just-
that are on that.
Just about every town that's put the 1% option tax in
No,
has made more than what they put in, but I was just gonna throw out that I agree that we need to be very thoughtful because it's been voted down twice, but we have, got something I wanna throw out for you that we were talking at the Economic Development Committee to say that we'll take some of the money from our budget to have a study done that we can get done fairly reasonably. Joe did a nice job of negotiating that, so that we can do a better job of getting some experts to help us explain, here's what it is, and here's what it can mean for you. I think they even offered for, I probably shouldn't mention what, but it's very reasonably low priced.
I think it's okay to mention.
It's okay to mention,
Do we have-
they're for $4,000, they'll do this work. And also come and help explain what their findings were if we wanted to do some information meetings.
Well, we'd have to.
I'm just saying that as we're talking, doing some work, we have some money already there so we're not asking for new taxpayer money to do it.
sure.
And I think we can probably do a better job of,
Right.
here's what it is, make your decision after, but let's give you some real facts.
I mean, if what, if Bob is telling us that, people thought that it was going to be applied to food and, and clothing.
It was worried, I mean.
And gas, then obviously there's a lot of misconceptions going
Mary
on.
Martin at Durfee's was adamant and was furious because it was another hunk of paperwork, frankly.
Right.
And it really, that part of it it doesn't tax clothing,
Right.
She'd
So-
have to pay for the toys on the back wall or something, yeah.
Because as we take on, we should be looking at tax stabilization, but understand, we keep looking at the full plates everyone has right now. Putting more on a full plate until you take something off it, I don't know my concern is how doable doing a lot of stuff. I think we should do some. I think the having this study done for us, because it doesn't require a lot of man hours from Joe and his staff. That's a good place to start. When I looked at this item, I said, what are some little things, what are some things that we can do that we probably would do anyway, but let's get them down. One of them I thought, Rich, was the punch ticket one, where we're doing dollar increments versus two. And I think you did some research, and it's probably to get a new box of tickets printed up in dollar increments is a couple $100.
Yeah, it's a couple $100 to change.
But I'm saying-
To make the change.
Who knows, but
That makes
Like,
sense. That's a
it wouldn't-
simple one. Yeah.
not highly labor intensive or expensive, but it gets us taking steps in the right direction. There was-
I think I was going to say, Glenn, we probably should look at the fees we charge, particularly to commercial enterprises. And also one thing I was thinking of after we were signing the deeds, from my understanding, the price that we charge for our plots in Cedar Grove, it's a little bit below the market. It's certainly, I know that at a private cemetery, plots can be $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 or more. And, we have a beautiful cemetery that we have to maintain perpetually. And to the extent that maybe raising the price of that a little bit, that could be something as well.
Didn't we just, I thought we did.
Not since I've been here.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, we certainly, I know what we did. It was the actual burial. We
I think-
changed that.
And
Yeah.
I'd like to, I don't disagree with that, but I'd say I'd like to go to we have a pretty good cemetery committee.
Well, they have
Go
to be
and
involved.
talk to them and say, hey, do you have, what do you have, and
Maybe.
that's what, and let them come back, cause they might, I wouldn't wanna,
Well, I mean, maybe they can do some footwork
yeah,
and see.
that's
what-
one, but
what's
I
being
definitely
charged
something
in
to look
towns.
at.
Because I would suspect that some of the other towns surrounding us charge more than that. I mean, it's a great, it's a beautiful cemetery, and that for what we're charging, it's a great deal. But the other thing is, again, I think that we also should focus on what revenue we can get that doesn't necessarily affect the residents of the town. I mean, for example, if you talk about a food tax, that McDonald's, more than half of the people going through it every day or have New York plates on. Same thing with the Dunkin' Donuts, things like that. So that's something that we might be able to collect revenue that doesn't affect everyone here as much.
I think that would be part of your option tax, probably.
Was it? Yeah.
The 1% then.
Joe had an idea, so I want to credit where the idea came from, and that was, how when we do our events and how the Chamber of Commerce gets a fee for each of the booths that are going in there? I'm not looking to take that fee away, but I'm saying, do you put a adder on that for the town that generates some revenue? Now, again, this is not, I'm not talking big bucks. I'm not talking driving them away. I'm saying if it might, I'm talking $5 or $10 per booth on
It
four.
would not be impossible to do that, and it would be justified. We pick up the garbage.
Right.
We mow the lawn, we cut the trees, we do, and what that fee,
That's
all
all
I'm looking to
costs
do is not
down.
make money, but help pay for some of the work Festus does to get the park in shape for the things, the events we have. That's everything from cuts in the parks to, Spring Fling, Apple Fest, and all the other things that we do down there.
And down the road, we're gonna have light maintenance.
I think there'll be, I think so. But I think my only concern of going, we could probably come up with this huge list. I caution us, let's keep it, let's not let our reach far exceed our ability to grasp what's there. These, just the things we've talked about are some pretty substantial
Yeah.
And
steps.
they're fairly simple and they're doable. I mean, they're doable in a short period of time, and then we can move on to scratch one off
And
and
in
do
talking about a weekly item on the agenda, maybe it's just coming back and saying, so how are we doing on the study
Yeah, oh,
on
yeah,
this and on this and
absolutely.
this?
Oh,
That, to me, I think that's
Yep.
one that
So,
might get some legs,
Yeah.
yeah.
so if everybody's okay, we will go forward with what we got. I mean, the dump tickets are no-brainer.
Yeah, that'll
And-
increase revenue right off the top.
Yeah,
And it's not really increasing fees, it's just,
Right.
yeah.
Yep.
Who is on the cemetery committee?
Mary McNeil, I know is,
I think Danny is too.
I think
Any-
Danny is, I think
well,
there's
they're
six or
they're
seven.
actually commissioners.
Oh,
So-
okay.
So they
Isn't John?
theoretically have a lump sum of money, the perpetual care money, which may be
Right.
next to nothing.
I was
now.
just going to say, perhaps we should just get this over to them and say maybe you can
Yeah. I
explore.
I don't know what the
Yep.
state of their state is
Yeah.
for what they need,
Yeah.
you're right, yeah.
And they might be ready to do that, yeah.
Yeah. And you said, Joe, that it hasn't changed since you've been here?
No, I've only been here 6 years, but.
That's still, considering what's happened in the last 6 years.
So I would like to,
Use of real estate besides your golf course.
so I'd like to take credit for the booth fees, but that's actually, I was talking to Sean Galvin, and it's Sean Galvin's idea.
Okay,
Yeah.
a lot of people are thinking the same thing, and on the same line,
Nobody
Jason,
will
as
be
you're
surprised.
talking, we're not talking just having taxpayers, we're already but how do we take and get some revenues to help us with
Right.
stabilizing the tax
And
rate?
it's and it's not unreasonable, and many towns already do it. And so,
Yeah, that kind of thing, yes.
Yeah.
All right, well then, we will move on with that unless there's something else to be said about the projects we have already. Okay. Anything in the parking lot needs talking about?
Devin asked me about the town plan. How's that?
If he'd call me, he'd hear about it.
Oh, okay. I'll have him call you.
No, I'm gonna call him again tomorrow, so.
Okay.
So, but, we're gonna start plugging in new language. We've gone through it. We're gonna start plugging in new language, as of tomorrow. And thank you very much, from the, for the water department and the sewer department. They did absolutely spectacular jobs. They are two great employees. They really are. And I asked them to come up with a new, and they came up with, and, you know, Mike's was very technical, and I said, throw in a paragraph about what is possible with the water, and he did. In another 3/4 of an hour, I had another line, so we have that. It's just, they're good people, and they're valued. They should be. So we're gonna start that tomorrow. We should. I got all of Linda's notes, which are, we'll be able to work with them. And actually, I've been trying to get a hold of the guy that Devon's, what's his name, Logan?
Right.
Yeah, he hasn't, we've been playing phone tag is what we've been doing, so. Anyways, local accomplishments. We'll. Okay, board roundtable.
Well, I didn't realize Nate was gonna meet with pavers this past week. I wish I'd have known.
It's not really your job, so.
Well, I know that, but I can put in my 2 cents.
I know.
Well, one thing is, I can't stress enough, we gotta prep this stuff before we pay it. It's the most important thing we can do. And if we don't do it, we're throwing our money away. So please, let's spend the extra and get it prepped right. The extra time is very important. That's what I have.
Had a very nice meeting with Lyle Jepson over at Cedar yesterday. The meeting, obviously, I appeared as a private citizen, and with the goal of finding if I could offer anything to Cedar or participate in one of their committees. But I will say that Lyle did spend a good deal of time talking about the significance of Fairhaven in this region and how eager he was to do what he could. He also happened to mention that at some point we may want to talk to him about some grants that are out there and I'm sure that Joe can do that in due time. But he did say that he was eager to help us with anything that we could, and which is always a good sign. I'm not sure which committee he wants me to serve on yet. I'm going to figure that out this week. But I thought that it would be nice to have a voice of someone from Fairhaven on those committees, because it seems to be kind of stacked towards Rutland and Killington right now.
That side of Birdseye.
On that line, I attended my first, I'm on their marketing committee for Cedar, and attended my first Zoom meeting. They do, everything is done on once a month in a Zoom meeting. The big takeaway from that was for new people moving in your area, they do some great meet and greets to let them assimilate into the Rutland County area and everything. So I ended up with a couple of homework assignments. All I can say, Lyle's a great guy. You will get some homework assignments.
Fine with me. Keeps the mind working.
That's all I have.
Anything else? Well, thank you for that. I've been chasing our town representative around. I will be honest, he's given me some people to contact, but he hasn't been, he just doesn't seem to be, I don't know if he doesn't feel like there's any, he didn't say there's no hope, but he's not really involved. So I've talked to the Better Roads person, Alan May. He's gonna come down when the snow goes, sometime end of March, sometime in that area. He's gonna come down and spend the day down here and go up and down. So that's where you're gonna be needed for sure. on Scotch Hill. I'm specifically trying to get some money from the state of Scotch Hill. I talked to or I've been emailing with Sarah Coffey, who is the chairman of the Transportation Committee in the House. I've emailed Richard Mazza, who has not replied to me yet, but I expect to hear something today. Sarah was kind of, it's, what do you want? And I just laid it out. I said, I'm looking for money. And I said, no way to dance around it. And I explained the situation, and I said Scotch Hill is the driveway for 2 state parks, and it gets beat up by RV vehicles and big trucks dragging them all the time, and we repair it, and the state benefits. And it seems like there should be some, and I said to him, I said, it's a good thing that, it's one of those things where a state-town cooperation would be, I said, I'm not looking for you guys to pay the whole thing, and I said, the Gold Star fix would be 4 million, north of 4 million, and just good enough would be $1.5 million, so that, in a $3.5 million budget, we're kind of, we don't figure out around $180,000 of resurfacing a year. We don't really add up. So I'm waiting for answers from everybody. One thing we have going for us, and Canfield did give me this, is Pat Brennan, who's I think he's out of Colchester, owns the last camp up on Coryell Road.
Coryell Road.
And so he's familiar with that road, and I told Sarah Coffey, Chairman Coffey, to speak with him. He would have some first-hand experience of bouncing down that road, if nothing else.
I know we're asking for the gold standard, but even more important to me than on that is our Class 2 paving grant that we put in for every year and we don't get every year. And it's got to be more than 6 years now.
So again, I've been here 6 years and I haven't seen that money.
And we put in for a Class 2 paving grant every year.
Yep.
It's easier for them to say no to 4 million when we're saying, geez, we've even tried to do it I don't want them to think that we're just asking for the world.
Oh, no, and I made that very clear.
Past boards have sent letters up there to Montpelier explaining that we seem to be taking a very long time to come up to the top of the priority list for a Class 2 paving grant.
Right.
So we want the gold standard, but we'd appreciate any kind of help they could give us right about now.
Even if you could do a half a mile a year and do it
It
would be a great start.
I also spoke with Welch's assistant, or second in command, who used to be his first in command when he was a congressman. Now he's a senator. She's second in command. Very helpful, but the infrastructure money it's like block granted to the state, and then the state distributes it. So that's where Alan May's name came up, and that's where we are with that. So
Definitely disappointed to hear we're not getting the help from the local representative.
I'm gonna give them the benefit of the doubt to a certain extent, but I'm not happy with the cooperation so far, and it means one thing for sure. Now that I've said that, I'm a little leery about getting a haircut from them.
Haircut's okay. I wouldn't go for the shave.
You see, that's why as a politician you have to do your business elsewhere. But I was going to ask if you would or you, Bob, if you would know this. Is there a state agency that can give us the figures on park attendance during the season?
I'm trying to find that out, and I've got an email to the state park, and they haven't responded yet.
Yeah, because I'm curious how many. I'm sure that the number is pretty staggering. Because when we lost the water main, I actually had to go down to the park to actually use their shower facilities. But I saw, and this was towards the end of the season. I saw what was there, and those camps were full.
Yeah, they're full.
So
pretty much.
If that's what's trundling up and down the road.
In fairness to the state, I know with all the flooding and all the roads that were lost, that resources probably got put to where, I mean, places that probably should have been number one. I thought I was reading that this year's budget they're putting together, they have some additional money they're putting into help
Well-
with that, but also to try to get caught up on these class 2 paving grants
That
that,
would be nice.
so we just gotta make sure, I think the squeaky wheel does get the oil, so
Well,
we
that's-
gotta be.
I'm going with that
Let me
theory,
know.
and that's kinda why I
And
mentioned.
it seems like
Bill.
Bob is a squeaky.
Yeah, just keep squeaking, just keep squeaking, yes.
It doesn't hurt my feelings. Yes, and that's, to be perfectly honest with you, that's why I'm mentioning Bill by name. It's an election year.
Well, and I'm pretty sure Bill is tied up with Ways and Means, the
He's
committee
Ways
that
and
he's
Means.
on.
But Ways and
And-
Means has got a finger in the appropriations,
Mhm.
so, yeah. So anyways, that's where that is. One other thing, tree limb on 19 West Street, would you check that out? I didn't get a chance to go down, and somebody called me today about that, or texted me today about that.
Yeah, it's hanging up in that big tree. That's a private property issue.
Okay, okay,
I'll ping them again.
okay.
Was it
Thank
electric
you.
line in a tree?
Okay, financials,
Broken branch.
unless anybody's got anything else.
Okay, I'd like to make a motion to pay the payroll of $30,959.13.
I'll second that.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed?
Make a motion to pay the warrant of $121,771.61.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed?
And the checkbook status is $1,088,523.19.
Can you repeat that?
$1,088,523.19.
Thank you.
Okay.
Right there.
All right, we have an executive session.
Make a motion to go into executive session to discuss real estate under 1 VSA 313A2 and personnel under 1 VSA 313A3.
Second.
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Thank you.